What's going on, everybody? I just wanted to make a video today just to show you guys how I used Tenacity to remove bent grass from my Kentucky bluegrass lawn. It just became a nuisance throughout the years, just worked its way from the corners on out, and then just became just bothersome. It didn't look very good, and I didn't want it spreading any further. So I did a bit of Googling to figure out how do you get rid of the bent grass using Tenacity. And it is a lengthy process. It does take a couple months by the time you do enough treatments to remove it, and then by that point you got to rake out all the dead grass, and then either sod it, or you can do Scott's lawn seed like I did on mine. So as you can see here, just different pictures showing you guys a lot of the infected areas in my lawn. Some people like bent grass. You can do a whole lawn with bent grass if you want, but in a grass of Kentucky bluegrass, it just kind of sticks out and it just really doesn't look good. So first application I did on May 27th, and here we go 4 days later. You guys can see that it's starting to turn a lime green color. That's kind of the idea behind Tenacity, is it will change colors over time. It'll go from like a lime green color here, and it will slowly start to turn more yellow, and then like a yellowish white, and then eventually it'll turn brown. At that point it's pretty much dead. Usually this happens over the course of a couple weeks. So here you can see some grass, it's starting to turn yellow up close. And then 6 days later, again, you guys can see that at this point it's starting to turn a little more yellow. You can kind of see some dead spots in there. And at this point, we're going to give it another week or so, and then we're going to go ahead and apply another application, after 2 or 3 weeks. You can see the Tenacity, it doesn't kill the bluegrass. There are a lot of grasses that it doesn't kill, and there's 40 or 50 different kinds of weeds and grasses that it will kill, and it does tell you right on the label. And bent grass was one of them, and Tenacity does actually have the instructions right on there. Will tell you what you need to do for killing out the bent grass. So you can see here the grass is finally turning a nice bright yellow, whitish yellow color, indicating that it's dying off pretty good. And you can see just spread throughout the whole lawn. Everything is really, it's selectively killing out that bent grass. So then 12 days later here, you can see at this point, you're supposed to give it 2 to 3 weeks before you apply a second application. This is almost 2 weeks here, and everything is pretty much dying out. You kind of got to play it by ear and see how your grass is responding to it. My lawn seemed to respond pretty well. I don't know if it's because I applied a little too much or what, but the grass was dying off rather quickly. So at this point, I'm going to give it another week, and then I'm going to go ahead and apply my second application, Tenacity. This time I did add some blue coloring. I believe it was called Market Blue. That way I can kind of see a little better where I'm applying it. That way I'm not overlapping too much and hitting certain areas a little heavier than other areas. I want a nice even application. So it definitely did help, being able to see where exactly you're spraying. And then 6 days later, it's really started to die quick after that second application. And at this point, I kind of raked out a little bit just to see how much of it was dying off. And so here you can see that corner piece is really, it's pretty much dead at that point. So I'm going to give it a few more days to work in there, and then at this point I was able to rake out a good chunk of it from all the different areas. And you can see here it was buzzed down pretty good. I just used a weed whipper and kind of scalped the lawn. You can use a lawnmower if you want, but I prefer myself just to use the weed whipper. I have a little better control, and it's not going to scalp all the other good areas, and I can pinpoint a little better with the weed whipper. So then after raking and scalping out the lawn, what you want to do is go ahead and scalp it down a little more, I gave it a few days to keep dying off. Then I took the weed whipper and I really kind of picked out the areas that I wanted to put the seed down. So I made it nice and scalped, rake everything out the best I can, and at that point is when I went ahead and I applied the seed. So as you can see in these pictures here, I put down a little bit of fresh soil, threw down some of the Scott's Kentucky Bluegrass mixed seed, and then put a little peat moss over the top just to protect, from the birds, and then just to lock in some of that moisture. So I did that throughout the various spots in the lawn that I had scalped down previously. At this point, it was mid-July, so I did know going in that I was going to have to water pretty frequently just to battle the heat and make sure that those seeds stayed nice and moist as well as the soil. But it was one of those things where I just wanted to get the project done, so I figured, put it down. If it doesn't grow, then you can always reseed, near September. So 10 days later here, you guys can see that the seeds are definitely starting to germinate. So here you can see the seed is definitely growing. I was watering twice a day, just keeping it nice and moist in there. And then here you can see that the seeds are starting to germinate, the grass is starting to grow, and at this point it's filling in nicely. So again, I'm still watering once or twice a day just to make sure that the ground and the soil is staying moist, and then giving it the opportunity to grow. So again, about 30 days later at this point, I was having some trouble on a corner right here where the seed was just washing off and it wasn't growing very well. So I decided that, for this corner piece and the edging there, I was just going to lay some sod down. So I went ahead and dug it up, put some fresh soil down, and then laid a piece of sod over it. And then I threw in a little bit of seed and some of the bare spots in there just to kind of fill it in over time. Here you can see a couple of the bare spots there, but I put some seed on that as well. So at this point we're at about the 40-day mark, and you guys can see here that it's filling in quite nicely. Again, I've been watering every day, every other day, but more specifically just been hitting these spots with the hose. And then you can see here that everything is filled in pretty nice. I did use a little bit of Milorganite just to kind of give the whole lawn an extra boost midsummer here with the lack of water and all the heat that we've had. So between that and then some of the additional watering that we've been doing, it definitely has filled out the lawn nicely. And you can see here that all the spots have filled in, a little bit of different color from the main lawn, but I think over time it'll all kind of blend in. So at this point the project is complete. You guys can see here in a picture, there's really no more bent grass that I can see. The new grass is growing in quite nicely, and I think over time you'll see that the newer grass will kind of blend in a little better with the older grass. But I think overall the Tenacity definitely did do its job. So if you guys have any questions, just go ahead and leave a comment below, and I'll do my best to answer them. Kind of share my experience a little more in detail if you want to know anything in particular. Like I said, just feel free to leave a comment. So thanks guys.